Hello Whovians and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review the 110th Doctor Who story, Meglos. Meglos, yes. The second story in season 18 of Doctor Who, which is Tom Baker's 7th and final season. So, the basic plot of this story is as follows. On Tegela, two opposing factions are irrevocably divided over one fundamental issue, the dodecahedron, a mysterious artifact which provides the entire planet's energy. With the Savants and the Dions locked in a crippling stalemate and their civilization on the brink of collapse, the Tigalan leader, Zastor, seeks the Fourth Doctor's help, but the Doctor and Romana too have been trapped aboard the TARDIS in a time loop by Meglos, the last of the Zulfathurans, who will stop at nothing to steal back the awesome power of the dodecahedron. Okay, there we go. So that's basically the synopsis of this story. Meglos, well, the first thing to say is that it's a massive improvement over the Leisure Hive. God, thank God for that. Is this a perfect story? No, it's not a perfect story, but I had a lot of fun with it. This was a surprisingly fun, gripping Doctor Who story. It was really brisk, and I'm very glad to have said that. It's 4 parts, and it zipped by like that. I had a lot of fun watching this story. Again, it's not perfect. I have a few quibbles with it, but generally speaking, this is a much better story than the previous one, and allows the actors to really regain some enthusiasm, and it has some more light relief. It's not so depressing and dull like the Leisure Hive. But one of my minor criticisms is there's this feud going on between the Savants and the Dions, and the conflict never really is resolved. Yes, they have to kind of deal with the fact that the dodecahedron has been stolen, and Meglos is trying to steal the energy. But in terms of the two opposing sides, we see an argument at the beginning of the story about whether this dodecahedron is a religious sort of deity, like, because it fell from the sky. And Jacqueline Hill, who returns in the story, her character believes that it is some kind of god or deity, and this other guy called Zastor doesn't really, so there's a bit of a conflict there. But I didn't feel there was a lot of resolution with that, so that was kind of left open, and I would have liked the script to kind of tie that up. But yeah, as well, I do think there are some silly parts to the story. I do think that when we see the cactus, I thought, oh please. I mean, you know, thankfully we don't see the actual cactus itself for that long, but I just thought it was stupid that Meglos' true form is a cactus. I found that really dumb, to be honest. But when Meglos takes on human form, but then the humans have the cactus makeup, he even takes on the Doctor's form, and we see Tom Baker wearing cactus makeup. That looked really good. That looked really creepy and very effective. So I liked that. I really liked that. I wouldn't say this is the scariest Doctor Who story. It doesn't really feel scary, but there's a lot that happens. It's quite a fun action story. One of my other minor criticisms, well, I don't know if it's even my criticism, to be honest. I don't actually have a problem with this, but some people might. There's also these like pirate looters that appear in the story. They do interrogate Romana, and then they eventually end up working with Romana to stop Meglos. I mean, you could argue that the pirate characters are kind of unnecessary to the story, that they don't really add a lot. Maybe that's one of my other tiny criticisms, but I thought they were quite fun, and they reminded me of Garen and Unstoff from the Rebos operation. They're kind of similar, but they're just more pirates, and I think it would have been nice to maybe have Garen and Unstoff return for this story. That would have been fun, but no, they're still quite funny, and they provide a lot of good humour to the story. Jacqueline Hill returns, yay! Jacqueline Hill, who previously played Barbara Wright in the William Hartnell era. She has returned for her final on-screen appearance in Doctor Who. And what's her character's name? Give me a second. Her character is called Lexa. Lexa, yes. Very sadly, though, I didn't like the fact that her character died. That was a real shame that they killed her off. For no reason. They just killed her off, and I thought that was a real shame. I would have liked her to stay alive. But that being said, it's lovely to see Jacqueline Hill back and take on a different part. She was very good as Barbara in the William Hartnell era. So if you haven't seen the William Hartnell era, go and check that out, because Barbara is a really great companion, and Jacqueline Hill was really good. But in this story, she's particularly good too. And again, I like the conflict she has with Zastor, but again, it's never resolved, which is a real shame. While we're on that subject, the supporting cast, Zastor, the played by Edward Underdown, he's very good. He's a good supporting character. Karis, played by Colette Gleeson, is also very good. And of course, I have to mention Tom Baker as the Doctor. Yes, Tom Baker as the Doctor. Now, in the previous story, he did kind of look like he was losing his enthusiasm for the part, and maybe that is the case across the season, that he will just lose his enthusiasm, and obviously he's going to be leaving very soon. But in this particular story, he seems to have got a bit more of a buzz. He's sparking his energy back, and I appreciate that. And he's taking on two roles, essentially. He's playing the Doctor, but he's also playing Meglos in the Doctor's form. So it's nice to see when the main actor who plays the Doctor takes on two roles. Obviously, Hartnell did it in, I think it was The Massacre, or was it The Crusade? No, I think it was The Massacre. William Hartnell played two roles. He played the Doctor, and then he played another character. Troughton in Enemy of the World played Salaman, or Salamander, whatever his name is, and then the second Doctor. I don't think John Pertwee ever played two roles. I don't recall. If someone does know any of that, something about that, then let me know. But yeah, no, this is a nice change for Tom Baker, and he plays villains quite well. It would be nice to see in his later acting career if he did play any more roles that were villains, because I think he does a good job here. And as the actual Doctor, he's very good, and I still hate that costume. One thing I forgot to mention in my Leisure Hive rant was they added question marks onto the collars. Why? I have no idea why J&T did that. It's just so damn stupid. I mean, that becomes a running thing for the next few Doctors as well. But yeah, no, this is a really fun story. It zips by. Maybe some of the effects are a little dated, but there's some really good model work at the very beginning. Towards the end, when the Doctor and Meglos are confronting each other, there are some choppy effects. But I mean, this story is a product of its time, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly on that. Lalla Ward is also really good in the story as Romana. I think Lalla Ward is great, and it is lovely to see John Leeson back as K9, or to hear him back, I should say. He doesn't have a lot to do in this story. I mean, he's in it briefly, but some of the lines he has are good, and it's nice to see him do something. And thank God that J&T doesn't actually blow him up in this one, which is good. And perhaps my one other minor gripe is that the Doctor and Romana, they do spend a bit too much time in the TARDIS at the beginning. I know they want to get the Doctor and Romana stuck in that time loop, but I think that scene just goes on a bit too long. I would have liked that scene to kind of, wrap up sooner, but nevertheless, it's generally it's quite a mixed bag, but I really like this story. I really like it, and the costumes and sets are also very good. And again, there's like kind of a cult scene at the very beginning, like a ritual scene where they're praising the dodecahedron. They call it Ty. They're praising Ty at the beginning, and it does have a sort of feel of the demons, which obviously was John Pertwee's story, but. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about this one. I think it's very good. The music is actually a bit better this time as well. And the script is written by John Flanagan and Andrew McCulloch. They both do quite a good job with this story. It's nothing amazing. It's a simple, fun romp of a Doctor Who story, and you could sit down with your popcorn and your drink and just have a good time, have a laugh. It could also be argued that the practical effects of the killer plants do look a bit silly, but I'm prepared to let that go, because I do think the characters' makeup on the faces is very effective, and I just had a ton of fun with this story. It's very fun. It's very fun, and it is played more lightly than the Leisure Hive. So, taking that into consideration, I am going to close off my review of Meglos by scoring this story an 8 out of 10. So, that's my review of Meglos. Thank you very much for watching, and what do you think of this story? Please comment down below, let me know, and stay tuned next time when we review Full Circle, which is the third story of this season. There's only 5 stories left for Tom Baker, so it's going to be very sad to see Tom Baker go. But anyway, thank you very much all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. Tarnus11. See you soon. Bye for now.